Hi, Tony here, and you join me at the GridServe electric forecourt for the launch of the new Energica Experia touring bike. So this video is just an initial first ride. I'll try and put as many stats as I can, but I didn't get the press release until quite late, so I'm still trying to comprehend all the facts and notes. So we'll take it out on the ride, and then I'll add as much detail as I can as we go through. But this could be potentially quite an exciting new electric bike launch, so let's see what it's got in store.
Okay, so here we go. Now apparently I have to hold the brake in, push that to start. I'm guessing that green light there means that we are good to go. Right, let's see what the Experia is all about. Straight away it's a very comfortable riding position. The bike looks like a Ducati Multistrada, if I'm being honest, and when you sit on it, it feels like it as well. I'm trying to remember all of the stats, but I won't do so. I'll put them on the screen, but I have remembered that this has got a 22.5 kilowatt hour battery, which is one of the largest batteries on a production electric bike. They've also made the battery lighter, and they've dropped it lower in the frame, and it does feel incredibly balanced. One of the things I love about electric bikes is that flow of power, that seamless run. Now luckily, because this is on my doorstep, I know the roads. This is a touring bike, so yeah, it's got to do some motorway stuff, but it's got to do a bit of everything else as well. So we'll see what it's like. Now going back to the battery, this is a DC charge bike, so you can use the fast chargers, but you can also use level 2 and level 1 charging. So you've got the ability to use the super fast chargers, and they should get you from 0 to 80% of battery in about 40 minutes. But if you want to plug it in at the office or at home or in a shop or something, as long as you're taking the charge cable with you, then you can use a level 2 or a standard charger, and obviously the charging is going to take longer. Now this lighter, bigger battery, and the fact that they've kind of reined the power back a little bit on this bike, it's got an equivalent of about 101 horsepower and I think about 115 newton meters of torque. So they've reined that back. It's not as powerful as some of the other bikes, but the idea is that gives you a longer range, and Energica are claiming that an urban cycle on this bike fully charged will give you 261 miles. Now the thing that always kills the charge on electric bikes is prolonged motorway use, and I'm not going to get the opportunity in this brief ride to be able to experience that. But the numbers still look good with a DC charge system. As long as you can find that DC charger, you can pump a decent amount of mileage back into this bike relatively quickly. But I must admit, super comfy, comfortable seat. This is also a pre-production model, so the finish is not quite the same as it's going to be for the bikes when you buy them from the showroom. But I have to say, so far I'm liking it. I do like electric bikes anyway, as I say. I like that no gearbox, really smooth power. The suspension seems to be relatively well set up here, a little bit harsh on the front maybe on some of this bumpy roads, but it is fully adjustable. You've got 4 riding modes on this. You've got I think 6 levels of traction control. You can also change the amount of regen braking, and you'll notice that if you come off the throttle you can feel like an engine brake, and that's just trying to punch a little bit more juice back into the battery. But as I say, today is all about, we've got limited time on these, so today is just about getting the experience and bringing you a quick first view. Now, one thing that people always throw up about these bikes are that they're heavy. I think this does weigh 261 kilos, but the weight is very low. All that weight is right down in the bottom, which is obviously the weight is in the battery, and that's right down there at the bottom. So it's a very nimble feeling bike, very manoeuvrable. One of the issues that's always difficult when you're reviewing these is everybody always, and quite rightly, makes a comparison of the electric bike to an internal combustion engine bike, and things like range, weight and price are the big differentiators. But personally, from my point of view, I look at this more as not a competitor to an internal combustion engine, but more of a different technology that runs alongside it. Some people would never embrace it, and I understand that. Personally, I really like electric bikes. I like the riding experience. Oh, let's have a look, see, it might not be closed. They're a lot of fun, and I can imagine for touring, with that lack of gearbox, everything is going to be really good. I'm going to sneak through here, I think. Don't tell anybody I'm sneaking through. There's yet another benefit of riding motorcycles. And I don't know what it will be like 2 up. It's 115 newton meters, so that's a lot, and I don't know what effect riding with a pillion is going to have on the battery. Obviously you've got twice the rate potentially on the bike, but the fact that it is so smooth, I think it's going to be quite pleasurable for a pillion. I do think this is a very smart looking bike, for sure. Yeah, lovely. That seamless power is just fantastic. The screen is adjustable, so that's good. I would take you through the modes and bits and pieces like that, but I just haven't had the chance to sit down and go through that. So as I say, this is a really quick and dirty first ride video. So the obvious thing really to think of with this is that it's designed for touring. Oh, that's what I like about these bikes, just super quiet when you stop. But yeah, it's a bike that's designed for touring, and so with touring, range is one of the most important things, and that's the one hindrance maybe that this bike will have if you're doing some serious touring. You're just going to have to plan it well, and you've got to keep your fingers crossed that high-speed chargers are working or not being used when you get to your destination. But there are people that travel long distances in them. It can be done, it's just a different experience. You don't have that convenience as you do with a petrol bike. But as far as the riding experience goes, I would quite happily have one of these. So I've done the country lanes, the suspension's pretty good with that. It handles well, no problem on the those kind of roads. So I'm just going to do a little bit of urban riding through the delightful town of Braintree, and then a little bit of dual carriageway to get back. So it's showing me at the moment, can't really see it, so it's 89% battery there. It wasn't 100% charged when I started, but that's showing me a range of 135 miles based on the riding that I've been doing. So we'll do this little bit through the town, then we will pick up the bypass or the dual carriageway. This is always a funny thing, you can stop and have conversations with people at traffic lights. Oh, one other thing I forgot, and we'll try and have a look at it when we get back, is this has got an electronic reverse gear. I say electronic, the whole bike's electronic, but it has got a reverse gear. For slow speed manoeuvring, you can, you have to, well, we'll see, you have to hold the button in and it will put it into reverse, and then click it again and you've got slow speed forward. So if you need to kind of shuffle it around somewhere, you can do that, which is interesting. Yeah, buzzing around town nice and easy. That range has now gone up to 141 miles, so I can easily see how, actually, if this is the only type of riding you do, and I think this is set in sports mode, so I'm not using the most economical mode, so I could see how that that range is feasible. But hopefully I can get hold of one of these when they come into the country in larger numbers, and spend some time on one and test all these things. Although anybody, if you've ever done range tests, is always kind of nerve-wracking, whether that's on an electric bike or a normal bike, but trying to plan it so that you think you're going to be out of range close to a refilling station is not so bad on a bike, not quite so easy on an electric bike. But yeah, buzzing around town, lovely. I think the bike actually makes enough of a whine that pedestrians can hear it. That's not my engine, obviously, you can hear. I knew that was going to happen. I knew I was going to get stuck at the next set of lights, always the way. So yeah, we've got a USB socket there as well, just to drain the battery a little bit more. Dashboard's nice and clear, that TFT screen is good. It's nice and uncluttered, and that's another thing when you think about the running costs of these. Obviously there's a high initial cost to purchase them, but then ongoing maintenance, there's no oil, there's no fluids, it's just them. It almost becomes like servicing a push bike. They check the battery health, and then the rest of it is tyres and brakes, which is simple to do. And this bike, unusually I think for an electric bike, has got a chain drive, and I think that's because I think all of the Energica race bikes use chains, and so that's what they've done. The Zeros I've ridden before, a belt drive. So you do have a little bit of added maintenance with the chain. Obviously belt drives you don't do anything to. The chain you're going to have to adjust and lube, etc., but not really much of a hardship. So yeah, time to get back now, because they'll be tapping their fingers worrying where I've got to. So the last little bit, country lanes we've done, town work we've done, now we've got a little bit of dual carriageway. Pickup is just fantastic when you're sat at 70 miles an hour. This is normally where battery bikes get drained much quicker. And as I say, on a short run like this, I'm not really going to be able to evaluate that. So the idea of this video is just to let you have a look at the bike, me spout a few words on it, and hopefully relatively soon I'll get another bike that comes along and we can do a much fuller test on it. And I must admit, I am really looking forward to doing that. It's a fantastic bike to ride. It feels nice and planted, but it still feels nimble. And that battery power just keeps pulling and pulling. So even here I'm at 70 miles an hour. If I needed to get out of a situation, if there was something going on that I didn't like, just a quick flick of the wrist, and yeah, it just pulls. And I know I touched over the speed limit there, but there are scenarios on the road, and I was always taught that you've got several ways of getting out of danger. You can swerve, you can brake, or you can accelerate. And sometimes I've been on situations on dual carriageways and motorways where I'm not happy with what's going on around me, and I just want to give it a squirt and get out of there. You can see it on the dashboard as well, when it's regenerating, you get like a little blue bar. Probably can't see it in this light with this camera, but you get a little blue bar that shows you what's going on. Now this is lovely to drive, nice and smooth, effortless, comfortable, no vibrations, no heat, no noise, no smell. And I know that's an integral part of riding a motorcycle, and I'm not saying I don't like that, I do like that, but there are occasions when you don't want that, maybe, and we are moving into a world where that's going to be frowned upon more and more. So although I don't necessarily think electric is the long-term, or this kind of battery-powered electric is the long-term solution, it's all we've got until something new comes along. So I'm quite happy to embrace it, and if you've never ridden an electric bike, get yourself down and try one out. I think you'll enjoy it. Whether you buy one or not is irrelevant. Just take one out for a spin. You'll have a hell of a lot of fun, and you never know, you might get converted. Here we are back at grid serve. I've probably taken a bit longer than I should have done. Oops. So we'll see what this reverse is all about. So apparently hold the brake, hold that down. Oh, and I'm in reverse. Wow, spooky. And then I've got slow movement forward. Clever. Okay, so that's it. We're done.